Let me ask you, first of all, we've got word China cutting rates today. There are questions about what's happening with the U.S. economy right now. What's your own sense right now about whether or not Ben Bernanke needs to step in and take action again to help jumpstart jobs?
Well, we'll see what he says today. One thing he'll do is kind of set the table about where we are, and that's very helpful to the Congress. But I think as much as we're anticipating what he says, and we're going to have an interesting discussion about monetary policy, I think the most important thing we've got to do in the Congress is make sure we get our work done. We need to get a transportation bill done. It's a big job creator. Need to get a farm bill done, and need to put in place, I think, other strategies that will kickstart economic growth literally in the next couple of months. I have an idea to provide a tax credit for hiring between now and the end of the year. I think if we take those steps, we will be doing our job to get a bipartisan consensus to move the country forward economically. We'll see what the chairman says.
Mr. Chairman, you know this is an election year. There are a lot of questions about whether Congress can get anything done, certainly anything controversial in this election year. There's a sense out there that Ben Bernanke may be the only show in town. Is that wrong?
Oh, I think it is wrong to this extent. Both the farm bill and the transportation bill have tremendous bipartisan support in the Senate. The transportation got 70 votes. So there are steps we can take to do that. But I hope that on days like this, we just don't have a lecture series on monetary policy within the Congress. We need to get our work done. That's what I hear from people in Pennsylvania. They say, sit down, work it out, get it done, and focus on one issue to the exclusion of all others, and that's jobs.
If Ben Bernanke were to decide, listen, I'm not sure what's going to happen in Congress, I do need to take action here, what would you say about that? Was that something you could support?
Well, we'll see. It's I'm interested to hear if he does make an announcement today on anything that involves monetary policy generally, quantitative easing, any of that. We've got to evaluate it, but I think we have to be cognizant that what we do here in the Congress in the next couple of months is going to be as significant as anything the Fed can do. And we just have to make sure that we're doing our work as much as we question and debate monetary policy.
Former President Clinton weighed in this week on the fiscal cliff. He's backtracked a little bit, but the basic message he said is, listen, it might make the most sense, given the state of the economy, for you all simply to extend the status quo, including the Bush tax cuts, into next year, deal with it then. What do you make of that? Is that where Democrats are ultimately going to have to come down?
I would hope that we could come to a bipartisan consensus by the end of the year. I don't think we should start planning for any deferral. I think we should make a decision by the end of the year. But we also have to be cognizant that we've got to create some measure of certainty in the next couple of months. And that's why I think that what you saw the other day were a large group of senators coming together and talking about where we've got to go. Because one of the things we all agree on is we have to get our fiscal house in order, even as we're kickstarting or putting in place strategies to create jobs.
You've got the chairman today. What is your main question for Chairman Bernanke when he's up there today?
Well, I'm curious about the big question, obviously. I think that's the question about what he will announce. He may address it in his testimony. It may be developed further. But I think the main thing, my message is going to be more to the people sitting next to me, members of the House and the Senate. Happens to be one of the rare joint committees. That we've got to get our job done, come together in a bipartisan way, and focus on jobs.